Hi there, welcome to the Kenny Veach Mineshaft case. There is new updates and a form of breaking news. Once again, the land of the Mineshaft area where Kenny Veach did his intro video has been altered with once again. There are new additions to the land. Things have been added, which is very interesting to see. It's been documented by Jay Chuck, as well as his recent hikes. I want to focus in on it today and do a comparison before and after. And I have documented through the years of the different hikers that have been out there, from Kenny Veach originally to Scott Natal to SB Vegas Adventures, and of course, Jay Chuck Vlogs. So that's what I'm going to be presenting to you today with key material photos. So don't go anywhere. For those that are currently here in this live premiere, welcome. Share your thoughts and opinions in the live chat box, right hand side of the screen. And for everybody else watching this video at a later stage, catching up, leave your comments down below. By liking and sharing the video, it will help spread awareness so more people can be informed about the latest updates with the Kenny Veach hikes, search for the M Cave, and just clues overall. At the end of the day, from what I take from Jay Chuck's recent findings, there's been people out there, and on this occasion, possibly trying to help and look out for other fellow hikers. It's trying to understand and identify who is the one responsible for this new addition. And from what Jay Chuck has called it, some kind of like cash, like resources for other people that go out there. That's interesting. Now, the mineshaft itself has been altered with 2 throughout time, and it's changed once again. But that will be a separate standalone video, okay? Today, we're focusing on near to the mineshaft. So be on the lookout for the next video that will follow after this. What we can also do, if there is time, is look back at comments of the last Kenny Veach video that I did, but that can be for later on in the video. Right now, we need to get straight into the important part, and to introduce you, I'm going to play to you a small bit of footage from Jay Chuck's hike out there a few days ago or so in 2024, and you'll see the new addition.
There has been some changes around here. I personally just made my way up, so we see this thing. It seems like a friendly gesture. It's not from us. It says RIP KV. There's a smiley face. That's interesting. Maybe Wrath will be interested to cover this. But here, our goal is recovering. That looks like a cache or something. We're not going to disturb it.
So that was some good footage by Jay Chuck, and it was good of him to record it and give me a shout out too. Be sure to head on over to Jay Chuck's channel for the rest of that hike footage, including the latest hikes out there. But let's just focus in on his key finding and latest addition to the environment, because this was never here originally. What exactly has been added? Well, a plank of wood which appears to be a different colour, pointed with a tip arrow, a few rocks stacked on top of one another, and just behind it in the cracks is some kind of blue package, and I think it might be wrapped in bubble wrap too. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, and there are different angles to look at. This is just an overview, because what I want to present to you from a different angle, the same spot throughout the different years, just so you can see how it appeared way back in the past. And some people will be familiar with this method on my channel, where we look at something and we compare through the years to see how drastically did it change and what exactly was added, or possibly what was taken away. Now, in terms of the location of this little area, it's only a few steps away from the mineshaft, okay? And I believe it's like east of the mineshaft. So it's not that far away. The planks of wood, what you see there, appear to maybe some of it from the mineshaft itself, and maybe this was an area where things would be loaded or stored. I don't know exactly what the mineshaft was or how long it was used for, but as for the material here, it's weathered, it's worn, it's old, and it all seems to be around the same date, though this plank of wood could be kind of newish, but I don't know where that came from. I know J Chuck pointed it out, like it didn't seem to match with the other wood within the area. So be sure to let me know your thoughts there, because I know in the past when we did other findings and documented items collected along the way or found by hikers, it didn't quite match with the area. Kind of like Frank from Exploring Abandoned Mines and Unusual Places when he went to the M cave with the Area 51 sign. There was planks of wood there which seemed out of place. So that's what we need to be on the lookout for. If any of you notice items that are out of place, be sure to leave a comment down below. Okay, so the next slide, what we're going to go on to is from the point of view of Kenny Veach back in 2014 when he filmed the intro of his hike video, Searching for the M Cave, next to the mine shaft. And you see that pole there just in front of the screen, that's the mine shaft, the structuring of it. And facing east is that like a few like rocks on the ground with the planks of wood. So hopefully you can see that, the arrow pointing to it. So what you see there, the collection of rocks and wood, is basically this here from a different angle and point of view. So some of the rocks, which may have been collected from the area, stacked on top of one another as like a beacon marker, but also to hold the structure up of what's been placed there and to protect it from the environment and maybe animals, if there's like a cache, an item. Obviously, the question is what's within that package. We'll get to that shortly because we can zoom in on it, so don't go anywhere. So that's the point of view from Kenny Veach in 2014, next to the mine shaft, facing east, and you see the wood there. So has much been added, taken away, removed? It's hard to tell from this angle, but this is all we can work with because Kenny Veach didn't walk up to that spot facing forwards. But it does seem like there's a range of different rocks there, grey ones, which could link to the ones piled up in J Chuck's footage, and the planks of wood too, which are quite firm in the ground. Don't look like they've been moved much at all. That's 2014. Let's move on to a later one. This is 2022 or around 2022. Now in 2021, I believe Scott Natal went here, but it depends on the angling, right, of how it appears. We know Jeff Claw went here too, but he took a photo, and photos just in general like a slideshow at the time of the mine shaft only and not over here. So what you see there is basically what you see here, okay? So you can compare and contrast if you want. It'd be hard to do a side-by-side comparison because it's at different angles, but if you notice anything that's been added or taken away, let me know, okay? So 2022, you got the rocks there, you got a plank of wood there. I would say that it has arguably changed drastically from what we see here on screen to this there, because I don't know, it just seems like on the other one there's more of a gap. There's nothing on the ground there, it's like a bare patch. Okay, you got a plank of wood there just in front of the sagebrush. You got another plank there which goes across, which looks like it's underneath this plank, and then you got a little plank there and then a few stones here, but in between it's like a bare patch. Can you see where the gravel, the ground is? But you compare that to this photo here, kind of the same. You got that plank that goes across on the side. You got two planks on top there going across horizontal, which I guess you do see there, so that makes sense. Can we see what's in front of it? Hard to tell. It kind of like drops down, probably a bare patch, and then you got a few items there. I'm just wondering because I don't know if at any point of time when hikers may have come to the area, if they moved some of the items, whether it be to use for the mine shaft, if they were accessing it, or if they were trying to make some makeshift bench to sit on, if you needed a rest. You get what I'm saying? Some people do that at times. But that's what it looks like in 2022, 2014, and 2024. So maybe, I don't know. I think it has changed because you got that big plank of wood which goes across, and that's on top of the two horizontal pieces of wood what we see here. It looks like the wood has all been gathered and piled on top of one another to create almost like a pallet, and then in the gap, which is just under that sign, that's where the item is. I don't know if you can see it. That's the item there. Through that gap is like, I don't know, it's cling film or bubble wrap. But yeah, someone has definitely hauled the wood over. I don't know how heavy it is, to be honest. Piled it on top of one another and made it more uniform. Because when comparing it to that one, it's just all over the place, isn't it? Those planks down there. And even in 2022, it was all scattered about, right? There's no palette, there's no structure or foundations. So a hiker or group of people have manually picked up the wood, gathered it all in one spot. Now, would that be difficult to do? Would it be demanding? I'm asking Jeff Clark regarding that question, because I know in the past when it's come to hikers not doing this or not doing that because of the time, because it being exhausting and being dehydrated, Jeff Clark, the task of moving wood and planks, depending on the weight of it, is it something you would expect? Let me know your thoughts there. It's kind of like with the covered up M cave, how one rock appeared to be missing, later found on the ground by Jeff Clark in 2022 or so. Well, that was probably caused by a person exploring, but only one rock was removed. Why not any more? Well, the argument was at the time is it's hard work. You're already on a hike. You're in a harsh environment. It might be hot. You might be dehydrated. You might be tired on the way back from the loop hike. Are you then going to put in extra effort and exert it in moving heavy items? Probably not. And if you do, you're probably going to give up shortly afterwards. So I just want to know your thoughts, right? It seems like someone or some people have gone to the mine shaft, probably searching for Kenny or M Cave, maybe both, and then not set up camp, but set up like a base of operations, a beacon, a resource cache point to refill people's resources. I guess it's very interesting. Now, moving on here, this is 2023 SB Vegas Adventures. Once again, you see the mine shaft from that angle. Take in mind, there's some screenshots as well we need to look at regarding the mine shaft itself, but that's for a later video. On the right hand side here, once again, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. You don't see the same amount of wood as you do in 2024. Some loose rocks down there, a few planks of wood there, from a different angle, facing forwards but further back, so it's kind of hard to compare, I guess. There is some loose planks of wood here, but I can't see the same light coloured tanned piece of wood as what we've seen in J Chuck's. Okay, so that's SB. That's J Chuck from this angle at the start of his video, and even from this angle the plank of wood stands out significantly compared to this one. Okay, I know it's still not the best angle, but when you look there where that arrow is, you can see that light coloured plank with the writing on, and that stands out compared to all the other wood about, which is dark grey or black. So is that plank of wood fresh, new? Where did it come from? Did someone take it with them on their hike, or did they just find it laying about near to the mine shaft? It's just because that wood looks more new compared to the other stuff. And the only reason why I question all this is considering that a few months ago now, that Joe May Road, the access point to get to here, was closed down as supposedly work was being done, but in the end, no work was done because J Chuck didn't notice a difference made to the road. What was going on there? Was the road closed because people were coming and going and adding stuff to here? Or to the area of the covered up M cave, because there was those very suspicious track marks which looked like where a helicopter had landed, right? Is this all linked together, or is this a standalone thing? It seems like it's been in most recent time, right? I can't remember exactly the month of this one, SB Vegas Adventures. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's November time or if this one's November time. One of them's November time. This one, 2023. You don't see that light coloured piece of wood, do you? Not at all. But here, when looking up at it, you do, and it's on top. So yeah, there's definitely been changes, kind of interesting. Now, should we have a closer look at it, see what it's all about? There we go. So this is head on, you can see what's there. If we just look at the rocks, right? Anything about the rocks stand out to you? I know J Chuck previously has noted seeing almost like beacons, markers, and I guess Scott Natal did as well through, well, it wasn't in the canyon, JMA Canyon, where the mineshaft is. It was over the hills if you were facing west, over that way, over the ridge, as Kenny Veach pointed out in the past, I believe. But yeah, the only thing that seems to stand out here, and it's just behind, is some red tape or red ribbon. Now, that might not mean anything, but why is it there? Does anyone know? Why is there some kind of red ribbon or tape? Is that to honour Kenny Veach or some random item? It seems to trickle down to there, but I'm not quite sure if it's attached to anything. Is it a booby trap? Probably not. From the overall looks of this, it's not done to cause harm to anyone. I remember in the past, we were with that understanding at the time that because of the damage to the mine shaft was someone trying to sabotage it, so when the next hiker visits, they would get injured and hurt, maybe killed. That doesn't seem to be the case here. This seems to be implemented to help hikers that come here, food and water. But do you know why this stands out to me? Is it a coincidence, this on screen and the colour of it? Is there any correlation or hidden message to the hike footage of Kenny Veach going down Picture Canyon, in which when he got round a corner, a bend, you could clearly hear a whisper, almost like a paranormal voice saying, "Follow the red tape." Do people remember that, witnesses? Follow the red tape. What was that all about back then? Kenny didn't seem to pick up on it, but it most certainly was picked up on the recording of his video. Very creepy, and I just find it a strange coincidence how there appears to be some kind of red tape or red rope found here. I don't know if the colour of it is supposed to represent or resemble Search and Rescue SAR, the group that volunteered at the time, or maybe they are an orange colour, can't remember. Let me know your thoughts if there's any correlation to Follow the Red Tape audio. It's a bit creepy, in my opinion. But with this plank of wood, okay, you got a bit of a smiley face there. So basically, they don't mean any harm, friendly, that's about it. So the person at least had a pen on them at the time, a black marker pen. It says, "Rest in peace, Kenny Veach." Now, this is very, very interesting. So whoever went on the hike in search for Kenny Veach, maybe a recovery mission, has already come to the conclusion and expectation that Kenny Veach is already dead and that Kenny Veach probably passed away back in 2014 on November the 10th when he headed out there the final time and never returned back. Now, is that the correct assumption to have? Because the reality is there is not enough proof or evidence to say that Kenny Veach is dead. There is evidence to suggest that he went out there hiking, but no blood has been found, no bullet casings, no bones, no excess residue or additional DNA of Kenny Veach. The only thing that was traced to the mine shaft was Kenny Veach's scent, and that ended at the mine shaft. And it has been searched over and over again, outside, inside, with a camera and physical people going in. Kenny was not found there, and he hasn't been since. So could he be further on elsewhere on the hike? Maybe, but people have gone there hiking and have just not found him yet. And take in mind, whoever wrote "Rest in peace, Kenny Veach," do you as a person or group have proof and evidence to say that Kenny is actually dead? Let that sink in, okay? I I'm one of the few individuals that has presented a form of evidence and material at the hands of others that have passed it on with time, such as Susan Veach and even Jeff Clark, who first introduced me to the CCTV footage, right, from GLP Godlike Productions. Stuff like that, as well as the missed phone call by Kenny Veach's Facebook account when reaching out to the sister-in-law Susan Veach back in, I think, November time 2022, right? CCTV footage of what appears what could be Kenny Veach, certain similarities there. Family members have agreed with it and others have switched and changed their minds very quickly in a suspicious way, as if they're covering for Kenny, right? But even that phone call, that standalone one by Kenny himself making the call from his account, sounds very suspicious, right? It's evidence to suggest he's still alive, or at least alive up to a certain point, let's say 2018. But to be honest, that 2022 call, that would say he's still alive till this day, or in more recent time. So there is more evidence to suggest he's alive than there is to suggest he's dead. Okay? And I know some people will say that some of the evidence provided isn't good enough, isn't strong enough. But is there any strong evidence to say he's dead? No. Simple as. Non-negotiable at this point in time. So I think it's a bit far-fetched to say he's dead when there's not enough evidence. Okay? If bones are found, if clothing is found, then yeah, I would understand. That hasn't happened yet. But that aside, what do we have here? Food, water, and fire. So that's obviously very good. Okay? And it says under here. So that's probably why this has been constructed. All the key items and resources put maybe on ground level, and then the planks of wood put on top of one another in a formation of a pallet to protect the items from the weather and wildlife. So no animals snag at it or take it away. I understand that. That's thought out quite well. And it's also the overall theme of looking out for fellow hikers in the future. But obviously J Chuck didn't touch it, didn't need it. But if anybody else does need it, it's available for them. Now, hopefully no one disrupts it or causes any damage to it, because there might be a genuine person that does require it. So it is like a cache point, a resource area if you need to stock up, right? I don't know exactly what food is present, but there is water, so that's very important there. Just let me know your thoughts. It's an interesting addition, right? But does it raise the question of, is the mine shaft becoming a tourist destination? And that maybe the expectation is by the masses of the general public is that this is almost like a memorial. This is the area where Kenny Veach was last seen and was first seen in his footage. That's where his scent ended. So this must be where he's at. His presence, his body is within the area. Will it become a tourist destination? Because at least from my point of view and some others out there, we refer to the Kenny Veach Mineshaft, or also known as the MK Mineshaft, as a starting point for onwards investigations and different routes to be taken. And, you know, if there's been the presence of others in the past. And I have referred back to the mineshaft a few times now, the mineshaft itself, not just this, because of who's been and what they've done to it. Okay? And as well, the mineshaft responsible for the crystal skull, whether it was put back there or taken away, an additional skull at one point or another. But as a fact, there was a crystal skull within that mine shaft. Very creepy and odd and also random. So besides the mystery of Kenny, his disappearance, and the mysterious vibrating M cave, you got the mystery of the crystal skull. You got the mystery of the campsite with the bamboo concealed sword and ripped up tent, which then months later vanished and disappeared into nowhere. You even had the mystery of the underpants randomly found in the desert. So stuff Scott Natal found and documented. So there is a range, there's a range of stuff out there, considering the environment and terrain is quite open and sparse. It is quite rich with mystery, and it's still ongoing, okay? So I don't know if we'll get a different angle here. There we go. So this was the only angle I could get, and I think maybe the stones are either as a beacon, a marker to acknowledge, or maybe it's to weight down some of the stuff. but what you see there seems to be wrapped up in bubble wrap, which may have some kind of blue tape or duct tape over it. Seems to be a fair-sized package, which probably have all the contents in: the food, the water, and for fire, maybe excess wood or tools to start fires with. So it's thoughtful, it's thought out well. It's just interesting how it's only happened now and not back then. Why has it only been added now? And who's responsible for it? So SB Vegas Adventures, this is a pre-recorded video, so even though there's a live chat as a live premiere, in this video itself, I can't directly respond back to live comments because it's a pre-recorded video, okay? Just in case people are tearing their hair out right now saying, Raf, it's me, I'm responsible. Why are you not acknowledging it in the chat? It's because I can't see the chat right now because it's not a live premiere right now, but it will be later, okay? Hopefully people understand that. But, you know, if you're in a position where you can and you want to just briefly acknowledge that you've been there and you're responsible for this, feel free to do so you can be acknowledged. And just so there's more clarity, because it's good to document who comes in and who comes out of the area, right? So you can keep up to track with how many people have been out there and who has exactly, right? Is this a person from the GLP forum? Is it a person from my channel, or just someone in general that's interested in the case? Or could it be a well-known individual who's been doing it in the background since? I want to know your thoughts on it. That appears to be it for the photos there. And as said, there are some additional changes to the mineshaft itself throughout time, whether it be nature, weathering, or by humans themselves. More to come soon. What I want to do now in relation to the Kenny Veach case and community is look back on some comments from the last video that I did, catch up on any questions there that may need answering, any additional points of views and people's responses to the theme and topic of what was being talked about at the time, and that's in relation to Atari, a fellow Kenny Veach investigator that did their research online, but strange changes in behaviour occurred with them, just like a few others. Strange, unusual, but it's been documented. But there's also been signs of hypocrisy noted and stated. Short story is, Atari some months ago now was calling Warlike Raf out and questioning his credibility on the case, and does he really care, and doing it for monetary gain and all that manipulation and just unnatural ways of going about the case and not really caring to that extent. But then Atari supposedly did the same thing she said that she doesn't like, where she ended up locking her Kenny Veach research videos behind a paywall so the general public can't watch Kenny Veach research videos and maybe important information collected. If you want to access it, you got to pay for it. Now, as you know, on my channel, I don't lock important content like that behind paywalls, and I never will, because, you know, it's for the general public to learn about the case. And how can they learn if it's locked behind something? It just seems a bit manipulative, but also hypocritical considering their previous stance on the matter in general. So with that being said, let's just look back at the comments to see what people had to say about it at the time in response. Here we are, arranging it to the latest comments. We've not got too many to get through. Badger Life says catching up. Hopefully they did catch up in the end. Cleo agrees with what was said. Vegas Girl says, hey, yeah, I remember her. I was going to ask you if you still talk to her. Judging by the video, it would be a no. Well, I'll just give you a brief backstory, Vegas Girl. I genuinely can't remember the last time I communicated with Atari. Last time it was through emails. And I think the last time it was her demanding for me to apologise, I guess just because I got a hold of research or material that she covered at some point and was wondering why I had it. It was something along the lines of that. They were a bit demanding and a bit pushy towards the end. After that, contact stopped there, and it was just randomly someday that I left a comment on Atari's channel. I think maybe just giving my thoughts on the case of Kenny Veach or M-Cave, and when I checked back, it wasn't there. And then when I tested leaving a comment and then signing out and then just looking at it under not under another account, but just looking at YouTube, the page, while signed out, normally your comments would remain, but mine didn't. So that's one way to know whether you're blocked or not. And obviously I was blocked. And then some supposed middleman called Awesome Destroyer, that's in communication with Atari on her channel. Awesome Destroyer was going a bit back and forth trying to understand what was going on and supposedly being like a messenger. Don't know how much good that did, but Awesome Destroyer relayed a message back stating that Atari said that she never blocked Warlight Wrath, but it's for a fact that she did. I've not checked since as whether it's been rectified or not, but I was blocked at a specific time because when I left comments, if I signed out, those comments didn't show up, right? So that's how you know if you've been blocked. Why did they block me originally? I don't know. Okay, there was never a reason given, and Atari seems to be in denial of blocking me. The only other thing I can think of, maybe it was accidental. Maybe, well, to be honest, I don't know, because to block somebody, you've got to go on their channel, you've got to go to the About section and then click Block Person. But, you know, the settings have changed since. It's no longer block person, it's hide user from channel. It's the same thing at the end of the day, though, okay? So you got to manually do it. You can't do it by mistake. The only way you could do it by mistake would be during a live stream or a live premiere where right-hand side of the screen, the live chat, when you go next to the person's name in the chat, there's a drop-down box which then gives you the options to add as a mod, to time out, to report comment, or view channel history on the channel, or the option to block, right? I never participated in other people's live streams, live chats like that. So there would have been no opportunity for her to accidentally block me that way because I don't participate in her chats. So she outright did it herself and yet somehow has developed memory loss since. Okay? So hopefully that clears it up for you, Vegas girl. Okay? As I said, there's changes in behaviour by people with time. It is what it is. I just document it and remind myself not to go down the same route with that person again in the future. I mean, people can branch out, people can apologise, and sometimes that's fine. Other times, it's not worth the risk, right? We've got Cat Loves ASMR saying, 100% agree with everything you say. I don't pay to watch anyone's locked content on channels. I got bills to pay, ha ha ha, and I don't follow Atari anymore. I was bored. Well, talked about Warlight Wrath. Right, with a cat. Right, so, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to content itself and material, if it was originally for the general public and about the general public, then it should remain that way over time if it's to do with a case, and that's how you started out. Some people lock it behind a paywall because they feel it needs to be a gated community because of the negative force of people out there. Maybe for certain communities, maybe. But if you're going to start restricting or locking content behind a paywall, how do you expect people to learn, right? Oh, because you've got to pay for it now. It just seems, I don't know, a little bit dark in a way. I mean, you can monetize your channel. You can enable super stickers, super chats, membership. There's other ways around it. And to be honest, other ways are probably more practical than outright memberships. But, you know, people have the different methods and ways, so fair enough. But it's just that Atari called me out in a negative way, and then supposedly she's doing her own thing in a certain way too. So she's kind of gone against what she said she didn't like. So that is hypocritical, okay? Now, when it comes to, do you like how I've mentioned it on the channel, freeloaders? That tends to be more directed towards people that come, don't contribute in any way at all, and cause disruption and complain and trouble, right? We've only come across some of them with time, right? But, you know, one thing that I'll always do, no matter what, is those people out there that show support to this channel, those people that gift memberships to others or become members on this channel, those that give super chats or super stickers on here, I will definitely acknowledge them as much as I can and as frequent as, let's say, the support is shown. It's the least I can do. Some people over time got a bit hissy and pissy and whinged and whined when I first introduced membership and some other features like that. But, credit to and shout out to the individuals that, I guess, advised me to do that. It was actual audience members in the first place, and some who just wanted to show a form of support, which was very good of them. They gave me the idea and I took that into account and moved forward that way. I can't name everybody in one breath because there's a range, but the likes of Maria, of course, Cleo, Badger Life, Skeptical, at one point Confluence, and a few others, and there'll be a range of people, of course, but like the people that have shown big support to the channel, they need to be acknowledged, right? Other people can come, watch, participate or not participate and not show too much support. That's fine. You just want to learn about the case and listen in, fine. But, if at any point, it's never happened yet, but, if at any point anyone starts having a go at those that have shown support to this channel, or like I've acknowledged people supporting the channel and others respond back in a negative way, I will respond back. And besides defending myself, I will defend the people that have shown support to this channel in terms of moments like that where people are calling others out for showing support, specifically on that topic, okay? So it's under control there. I think in general, the people that use ad blockers to skip ads and all of that, they do it for their own personal preferences. But I do think that when it comes to YouTube a platform, YouTube being a business, and obviously people that have channels on there, big channels, popular people, they do what they do, and that's what they do. That's what they're all about. They have ads, they have, what else did they have? Sponsors, all kinds of advertisements and all this. And as annoying as it can be, that's what, helps them keep on going and keep on creating. So for the petty arse people that do use ad blockers and think those on YouTube, other people out there don't deserve this or don't deserve that, I think just petty arse, cheap, freeload twats, okay? That's just my thoughts there. I personally don't use ad blockers, right? When I watch other people's videos, I'm like, do you know what? The advert isn't that long and it will help support, that channel out there. I mean, I know some people on my channel have said that they've watched all the way through the video and have watched all the adverts. They didn't have to, but they chose to because they wanted to help, which is extremely good of them, okay? So I'm just adding in my thoughts there. Now, moving on. A person called Fire Sale, also known as Just Observing. Word up, Chief. How are you today? I promised someone that I would ask you a question. So here it goes. Have you known Jim, Terry, lover and puppet Vegas girl for almost 5 years? She says that's how long she's known you. Any truth to that? I'm doing a behavioural case study on inside the minds of criminally insane women who stalk, harass and terrorise strangers. I'm following a trail of truth and lies. Well, there's that many people I come across with time. I can't keep track of everybody that comes, goes or remains. As far as what I remember, Vegas Girl, when she has been present on this channel, has caused no trouble, right? So from my point of view, on my channel only, and from my experience only, Vegas Girl has, been all right. No problems there. As for the length of time, I'm not quite sure there. But what I'm interested in, just observing, is when you said you promised someone, right, regarding a question, who is that someone? Out of interest, as a reverse question added back. Who is that someone you promised to receive an answer about? I'm interested. Moving on. KB. Monetary gain, rivalry and jealousy is low IQ trend. Why should Warlight Raft not gain financially for the time and effort spent to produce the subject-based videos? Trust your videos are always available for all to watch outside a paywall. True. It's your respect for your viewers' viewing style that I find creates a stress-free environment. This woman shouldn't walk with the likes of Warlight Raft. So appreciate this person and their comment. And, to be honest, you get others out there that go really hard in on a channel and say, that person's all about exploiting this and exploiting that and making money on this and that. At times, you might get some dark channels out there that are very, very manipulative and try and strain and drain as much as possible to benefit in that sense. But at the end of the day, No matter what the topic or subject is, KB is right, okay? It doesn't have to be about a case. It doesn't have to be about a missing person or a mystery or true crime. It could be bushcraft. It could be camping. It could be unboxings. It could be gaming. It could be music. It could be anything. Singing, right? Form of entertainment, form of comedy. If someone's going to put time in to do that, you know, you put so much in, you get so much out. It's a fair trade, right? But I don't think everyone sees it that way. I think there's a fair portion of people out there in this world, not here, but in this world, that have a strong belief that YouTube should only be seen as a little hobby and nothing more, which is a load of bollocks, if you ask me, right? If you do well or something good happens, you try and make the most out of it, right? It could be a sign that whatever you're doing, you're on the right track, you're on the right path. Well, do what you can and make the most of it within reason and in an appropriate nature. And it should be fine, because at the end of the day, who's harmed by this? No one. But who's harmed by paywall content? Well, a higher portion, because not everyone will be a member. So because I'm aware of that, that's why I wouldn't lock all the case videos behind a paywall, right? But yeah, it's good that KB finds this community, this chat, fairly stress-free and not problematic. That's good, because obviously elsewhere, it's a disaster. But here, it's under control. Jeff Clark says, my opinion is that Atari is very sensitive and takes comments personally. I think that charging is her way of not having to deal with the nasty M-Cave comments. However, I understand why you call it hypocritical, but as you know well, YouTube changes policies and ways to make money all the time, and it also may be a way for her to make money with her artwork. Personally, I've always said that every YouTube creator should get paid, even more the ad money, as YouTube has zero content without their creators. Ad money is being paid to YouTube whether creators take their cut or not, so they should take it. I certainly would. Okay, fair point by Jeff Clark. Well summarised, well explained. You know, at the end of the day, if Atari wants to monetize this or that, that's fine. I was just simply pointing out the hypocrisy, how I can be attacked, but they do the same thing afterwards, or they do their own thing in a certain way after. I just like pointing out observations and documenting stuff as I go along. If I sense or see hypocrisy, I will highlight it, because I really do hate hypocrisy. You know, the pure hypocrisy, and at times the repeated offences of hypocrisy. It can be damaging, right? So yeah, Atari does her own thing, fair enough. Now, in terms of the whole with YouTube policy and how things change, well, I think there's been changes on YouTube. Not too drastic, percentage cuts still remain the same, but I'd argue and say super chats, super stickers are probably more effective, right? I mean, memberships are useful too, and you can charge a certain fee within reason, of course. You don't want it too expensive, because that would be unfair, but also it would add more pressure on the creator. You know, you're going to provide a service, you got to be able to provide worthwhile stuff to access and to follow through with it. Maybe that's why Atari thought, okay, videos behind a paywall, but I don't know. There's other ways to do it, and there's better ways to do it, right? I think the paywall situation could lead to people being pushed away more than people coming, and those that do come left disappointed. So I think long-term wise, and if it's to do with hoping that the general public will learn, I just don't think that will happen, okay? But there are other ways to do it, and probably better ways. That's all I'm saying. We've got a person called the Cat Lady saying weird, right? We got Glasgow. Appreciate that with the super chat. Very good of them at the time. And they also say, I started the Kenny Veach stuff with your channel, and at the start I also followed a few others. I just got the feeling they tried to push their own narrative a little, and then the gimmicky nonsense Silver Heels was unreal at times. Looking content behind a cash payments, far too much mobile gaming for these cats. Yes, I get the reference by Glasgow that when it comes to the likes of mobile gaming, and it can apply to just pure video games on consoles, on PCs nowadays with the paywalls, the battle pass system and all that rubbish. Yeah, it's a bit messy. You feel like you're missing out. So yeah, I get that. As for Silver Heels, that's all fine. It can be funny. Glasgow says Atari and her hypocritical contradictions. Now that's multitasking. This person says, don't let the haters stop you, bro. It's So welcome to the channel GTA 6 FPS. Yeah, I'll still continue. I've been attacked in the past in other ways, some worse than others, and I'm still here. And last but not least, we've got a guy called Permian saying, on the subject of Atari, no updates on Really Robbins Rock. Jeff Clark pretty much proved it is not in the Canyon Silverheels thought it was located. Pie and In the Face Canyon. And DJ Moore was not able to access the canyon where he believed it was located. I think it's in the canyon DJ attempted to access. Jeff Clark responded saying 9 days ago, SB Vegas just posted a new video in his live tab, and at the 3-minute 51-second mark, he is pointing down into Really Robbins Canyon. I suspect Atari's Rock is almost directly below him, but those cliffs look nasty. The only access looks to be from the west, like DJ Moore was showing. So that appears to be it for the comments there. So all in all, some interesting new additions to the terrain and area of where people have been hiking and searching. Maybe with time someone will say that it was them responsible. If you have joined the video late, be sure to rewind back to the beginning. You don't want to miss anything. And for those that have watched it all, appreciate that. Leave your comments down below. Feel free to like and share the video. And for next time, we'll be focusing directly on the mineshaft itself to see what has exactly changed, and also look at it from a different angle and perspective which normally hasn't been done. Kind of interesting. So be on the lookout for that. For now, goodbye and good night.